Hello, everyone. This is Two Cents Worth. I'm your host, Ryan DeFaber. This show, we talk about sports, fitness, and life. We talk about my life, we talk about my fitness journey, and we talk about my life in sports and my opinions on all those things. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Welcome to Two Cents Worth. Today, we are talking about golf. Playing a bucket list course. A course that is a famous course. A course that you always had on your bucket list. One that you know you're going to pay a little extra more for, but the experience you hope is going to be incredible. A course that the pros play, a course that is maybe not even what the pros play. Like a lot of people like to go to Bandon, Oregon to play that, the Sand Hills in Wisconsin. So it's a course that is a bucket list, that is one that you've always wanted to play. And this past week, I had the opportunity to knock a course off of my bucket list. It was Kiawah Island's Ocean Course. So the Ocean Course has hosted the 1991 Ryder Cup. It has hosted the PGA Championship in 2005, the Senior PGA Championship, and this year in May, and the PGA Championship in 2012. But in this May, they're going to host the PGA Championship again. So I played a course that it's roughly about 2 months. In 2 months' time, all the pros, the best professionals across the world, will be coming in and playing. And on today's episode, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the experience, what went into it, having a caddy, just the whole experience, right? So for those of you also that aren't aware, I'll talk about a little bit of Kiawah Island and the resort, because the resort is more than just one course. It is multiple courses. The Ocean Course is the most famous course, let's say, okay? Let's not just say that. It's the most famous course. So Kiawah Island, it's about 40 minutes driving, 25 miles southwest of Charleston in South Carolina. It is a private beach, so a private beach and golf resort. So when you get on the island, the shopping center, you can go to, there's banks and shopping and restaurants and Harris Teeter, which, if those of you don't know, it's a grocery store here in the South. And once you go past that and you start heading towards the condos or the houses you're going to, it is private. So, my wife and I went down. We rented a condo. My friend who owns a property on Kiawah, him and his family also were there that weekend. So we played together, him and I. But we rented a condo. You have to have a certain pass to get through the guard stations. They do have guard stations across the island. So it is very private and resorty. That's exactly what it is, right? It is a Kiawah Island golf resort. Kiawah Island is the island, and then there's the golf resort, which takes up the main portion of the island. So, like I mentioned, 25 miles southwest of Charleston. From Charlotte, for us, it was almost about a 3 hour and 40-minute drive, depending on traffic, depending on what time of day you come. And you can stay at the Sanctuary Hotel, which is the main hotel on the island for the resort. There is a hotel in the shopping center that I mentioned earlier, or there are villas, houses, condos, all to rent. We rented a condo, 4th floor, ocean view, really, really pretty. Got to walk the beach every morning. Just really cool. So that's setting the scene for getting to go and play that. So not only playing the course and playing that bucket list course for me, it was also all the other aspects of this trip. It was a 3-night stay. I've never been to Kiawah before. I hadn't even thought about playing the ocean course until my friend who lives there was like, "Hey, you want to play golf? Well, since you're going to be there and I'm going to be there." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then it was, "Well, which course do you want to play?" And I said, "If I'm going to go down there and play, I got to play the ocean course." So, they had a tee time for us Friday morning, 9:20 in the morning, and we went for it. This person is a member, so for me to be his guest, I did pay a little less than what you would just pay if you wanted to just book it. You can book all 5 of the courses. They are all able to book, and that's the nice thing. So you can go and play these courses. I think a month prior to the PGA Championship, ocean courses closed. I think that's what the caddies were telling us. So in about a month, because this is recorded second week of March, in about a month, they'll close to really prep for the PGA. So if you want to get there before then, try and get a tee time. I will say, if you are not a guest, if you're not a guest of a member, tee times are right now in the range of around $450. They might even go up, but this is pretty much high season, and then obviously they're preparing for the PGA. For me to be a guest, it was $322 and a suggested $100 tip for a caddy. So, I knew that going in is, on a bucket list, on a course that has this type of history, that's hosted a Ryder Cup, that's hosted major championships before. I knew it wasn't going to be like your local, nice course that your friend might be a member of and you pay $100 and something for. Like, I knew this was going to be, I don't want to say an investment, but more of, hey, it's going to be a little more hit on the wallet than a normal round of golf. But I was okay with that because it's that experience. It was me checking this off and going, man, I got to play the ocean course. I got to play the same course that the pros have played, that they've hosted a Ryder Cup, one of the most prestigious, event in golf, where Europe plays the USA over, a couple days and all this stuff, right? The best players in the world get to play this. So I was all in. At that point, it was like, money, don't care. Here's my credit card. Boom, I already have a crisp $100 bill for the caddy waiting for him at the end of the round. I am ready to go. So, that's one thing I will say. If you're looking to do something like this, Banded Dunes, all those types of things, Pinehurst, Kiawah, these really prestigious courses, and bucket list, Pebble Beach, be ready to pay. Okay, and the money to me really wasn't a big deal, right? It was more of, I wanted to have the experience, like driving up to the clubhouse. It was cool. Thankfully, the guy I was with has played it a few times, so kind of can navigate. But just like any other course, they come and pick up your clubs. My favorite part was, we literally get out of the car. They grab the cart. They pick our bags up. I said cart. Sorry. They come and get out your bags, and they said, you got a tee time. You're like, yep, we're playing this time. Great. Good luck. So right out the gate, we don't even get out on the driving range yet. We haven't even paid yet, and already they just know how tough of a course this is, and how it can eat people up and mess with people, and difficulty. It is directly on the ocean, so there are winds whipping around all different directions. Good luck. This guy has no idea of our game, has no idea of our ability. Right out the gate, good luck. And me and my buddy just walk past the guy. We look at each other. We go, did he just say good luck to us? Like, we're so screwed. So first mindset is like, man, how hard is this gonna be? Right. So we get out there. And hold on, before I go on, let me give you a little more background of the course. So I've told you, obviously, it's hosted major tournaments. I'm just gonna. This is what I'm going to tell you about the course, right? The ocean course, there's 5 courses on Kiawah Island, as a part of Kiawah Island's golf resort. And that opened in the mid 70s. Pete Dye is the architect designer for the ocean course. Jack Nicklaus designed Turtle Point. Tom Fazio designed Osprey Point. Clyde Johnston, Oak Point, and then Gary Player did a redesign on Cougar Point. So your 5 courses are Ocean Course, Turtle Point, Osprey Point, Oak Point, and Cougar Point. And so Ocean Course is what we played. It is the most famous course. It was designed, like I said, by Pete and his wife, Alice Dye. It was designed so that players have the ability to look at the shoreline of the Atlantic Ocean. So you're exposed to the ocean. And then also, like I mentioned before, it gives you exposure to the strong winds that come off of the ocean. So that just plays into it a lot, into your shot selection and why. And I'll get to this as well. Why a caddy was so important to have, and how knowledgeable they are, and how quickly they can pick up on your game and tendencies. And I'm going to get into that because I'd never had a caddy before, so I didn't really have that ability to understand everything until I was able to do this. Ocean Course, consistently named as one of the best courses in the world by Golf Digest, Golf Magazine, and it was like, hold on, let me see. I'm going to read this one. As of 2010, the Ocean Course was rated 25th in Golf Digest's 100 greatest golf courses in America. So again, I'm talking about bucket list courses that are available to play. This is one of them for you. 72 is par. It goes all the way back. Now I'm going to get into some numbers here and details that most only golfers would really understand. So if you're not a golfer, this might mean nothing to you, but just understand that when I say yardage, that's a long way, okay? From the championship tees with the pros would play, it can stretch as long as 7,849 yards, and a course rating of 79.1. That's long and hard. The highest in the country. Course rating of 79.1 is the highest in the country, according to the United States Golf Association, the USGA. And because of the large slopes, numerous bunkers, and challenging Bermuda grass, it was named the toughest course in America in 2010 by Golf Digest. And let me tell you, it hasn't gotten any easier. There might be more difficult courses around there, but when it's named the hardest course in America, I'm gonna tell you, they haven't made it any easier. And so that's what we're up against. So there are ocean. No, hold on. I'm gonna take this back. And again, back to golf talk here. These are the T's: championship, tournament, ocean, Dye, Kiawah, Governors, Carolina. Me and my buddy played Dye. Rating is a 72.4. The slope is 139, and it was around 6,500 yards. That is not including the wind. They said, the caddies told us that playing that day, we probably were playing more so 67, 68, 6,800 yards, basically, with the winds. You're looking at some par fours when you got into the back nine and you were directly on the Atlantic Ocean and the wind was in your face and not helping. You're talking about like a 450 yard. Well, here, I'll tell you right now. Here you go, like 18. Great example. It's a 400 yard par four that was probably playing over 500 yards. So, with the wind being so strong and in your face, you're adding so much more yardage, which again is why a caddy, in my opinion, you don't have to use a caddy. But my opinion, if you're going to play a course like this, if you're going to play a bucket list course and they offer a caddy, spend the extra money. It is so worth it. They're so knowledgeable. Majority of them are extremely friendly. You're not going to get one that's not friendly. I mean, it's a service, right? They're in the service industry. They're there support and help you and make sure that you also have a good time, because they do know as well. Again, for a lot of people, this is an investment, right? It's a good amount of money to play a golf course for a couple hours. So they want to make sure your experience is as good as it can be, so you come back the next time, right? The more people that come, the more money they make, right? So that is the course. Again, I've talked about it. It's held the Ryder Cup, PGA Championships, blah, 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 blah. Back to the experience. So we get checked in, we pay everything. They already have our bags ready to go. We walk down to the bags, which is also on the driving range. We meet our caddy. Caddy's name was Dan. Really nice guy. He's been there 16 years, so he's seen it all. So he brings our bags to the range, says, you guys have 30 minutes. He goes, I would suggest we have 35 minutes before our tee time. He said, I suggest hitting for 20, go over to the putting green, chip and putt for 10, and then we're going to hop on this cart, because the first tee you got to go on a little, they call it a little shuttle. It's basically just a huge golf cart that can hold 10 guys and your bags. You're going to go on the shuttle. We're going to take you to the first tee. So we're hitting and everything, and I'm not really paying attention. I'm more so kind of just taking it in, because the driving range is right on the ocean as well, and the chipping green and putting green right on the ocean. So the flags are whipping, the wind is whipping, and you're there with a bunch of other people, and you have caddies everywhere, and you're like, okay, all right, look, like, you can't don't screw this up. Like, don't shank your first shot. Like, I know it's a driving range and you're warming up, but make sure you don't don't make a fool of yourself right away. So I'm hitting clubs, whatnot. I go through it. Thankfully, didn't hit any bad shots. So usually when that happens for us subpar golfers, when you don't hit bad shots on the range, you go on the course and, all hell breaks loose. Side note, gonna let you know, that did not happen. I scored what I thought I would score on that course. If I played it again, I feel like I could do a little better. There were a couple of holes where I was just like, more so just enjoying it than really worried about my score. But now that I've gotten to play it, and let me tell you another thing, now that I've gotten to play it, it makes me want to play it more and more and more. But at the same time, I also don't want to spend $400 and something every single time. Like, it ended up being that after we played it, my buddy and my other friend who was in Charlotte at the time were texting about like how awesome it was. My buddy was like, next weekend, do the same thing. Come on down. I was like, I'd love to, but I can't spend another $400. And he's like, come on, like, what? But like, just the thought of him, like, I just can't, like, but you want to so badly. Like, you want to play it again, because there were shots that were left out there that I thought I could get back. I would love to get back. There were times where I know I should have concentrated, but I was just more so just enjoying the whole situation, and I could have gotten a shot back that way. And then at the same time, just wanted to do it again. Like, it was just so much fun. Like, on my Instagram, I posted, this is the most enjoyable round of golf I have had in a very, very long time. And not in a negative way, but more and so like how positive and fun the round of golf was. So we're done with the range. We're putting a little bit, and I'm noticing the greens, and I'm like, okay, they're not crazy. Like, this is pretty decent green speed, like nothing wild. And later on, talked to the caddy about it, and he just said it's just the type of grass that can grow there, that the greens that we were playing were going to be what the speed would be for the PGA Championship. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm kind of getting to see what the pros are going to be up against. And, one of his things that he said, he's like, these greens are actually quite flat. Like, he's like, there's not a lot of break in them. He's like, a lot of people want to think that there's more break because, you have that mental aspect of, well, I'm playing on a course that the pros are playing on. Like, of course they can't be this straight. Like, of course that putt is going to do, it's going to break a foot instead of just, a couple balls. And it was true. Like, he would line us all up and tell us where to hit and everything. And there would still be times where I'm like, man, that looks like the line, but I don't think that's the line. I'd miss it because, you got the mental complex that comes into it. But, so we're on the greens and everything. And we go out to the first tee, collects us, lets us know, hey, come on, let's go, guys. We're gonna hop on the shuttle. So we take the shuttle out to the first tee. There's the starter there. He's telling us all the rules. First rule, there is no out of bounds on the course. If you hit your ball and you can find it, there's no OB, which is nice. Now, there is marshes. There's a lot of water. There are areas that you just don't want to walk into. You have alligators on the course, things like that. There are snakes in the bushes. But if you're willing, he said, obviously if you're willing to make that sacrifice and get in there, you can go for it. But a pretty cool rule. No OB on the course. And the fairways are actually quite wide. So, those are some of the things that you're kind of thinking of when you hop up to the first tee. And again, you want to have that first shot go well. Don't slice it. Don't duff it. Thankfully, first drive, in play, down the middle. Man, okay, I'm off to a good start. Talking to the caddy, getting to walk it. The experience with the caddy and walking the course was so cool. I can't tell you the last time I walked a golf course. So I'm a member at a club here in Charlotte. I don't walk. I watch a lot of people walk. I watch kids walk. Thankfully, it's an actual very easy and enjoyable walking course. Like, I was never out of breath. It's very flat. There's dunes and things like that, but it's not a hilly course. It's a very enjoyable walking course. So walking the, 6,800 yards or whatever, it probably ended up being 7,000 with, all the sideways and, different things where we had to go sometimes, was really enjoyable. It was such a cool experience. I think I ended up walking like 15,000 steps on the course that day. Overall, I'd have to go back and look at that, but I think it was something around that. But getting to walk the course and like see everything, when you're in a cart and you're driving the course, you can see the course, but you don't get to experience that same thing, right? Like, I'm not putting my head down, or I'm not focusing more so on the cart path. I'm walking the course. I'm getting to see everything. And that was such a really unique experience that I have not had before. Because I don't walk courses. I go in carts, and a lot of times it's not cart paths, so you can take the cart right to your ball. So you're not getting to really walk the course and see how things lie and, walking up to your ball and things like that. But get there that first tee and you just see it, and it's just so green. I was telling my buddy as we drove into Kiawah on Thursday, and we saw the first course. Like, I didn't even see an ocean course. It is on the far side of the island, so it's down there. But the first course we drove by, I was like, it's so lush and green. I was like, dude, this is like golf porn. I'm like, you don't see this right now in Charlotte. Like, so much of this, so many courses in the Charlotte area are Bermuda, and right now Bermuda's dormant, so everything's brown or it's spray painted green. It just doesn't have the same effect, right? And you roll up to that, and the grass is lush and it's full, and it's like a wow thing at this point, right? And you hit a good tee shot, and then my second shot I hit, and I start talking to the caddy, and he's lining you up and telling you where to hit, and he's feeling the wind for you. And so as we start talking, and I want to talk about the benefits of the caddy, as we start talking and getting through a couple of the holes, things that I thought, a little bit of misconception, not misconception, I don't want to say that. Sometimes as a subpar golfer, and I say I'm a subpar golfer, I range between a 10 and a 12 handicap basically throughout the year. So decent enough to go out there and shoot a decent round, but at times you'll have the blow up holes and everything. Sometimes, never having a caddy before, the fear is, man, like, this person's going to be like, this guy sucks, like, it's a shit player. And then you start watching after the round some of the hacks that are out there, and then you feel bad for the caddies because you're like, oh man, like, I'm actually pretty decent. Like, this guy's horrible. Like, and they had to deal with this guy for, all 18 holes. Anyways, I'm not bagging on bad players by any means, but I think the fear went away after the second hole, and so I hit my drive, and he's like, "Man, I'm not here to pat myself on the back by any means, because let me tell you, the ball ended up not going; it wasn't in play. I smashed the drive. He's like, you went a little more left than the line than I told you to go on. He's like, but I think you might have been able to clear it. We heard it hit something, so we walk over to it. can't find it. And he's like, look, dude, he's like, you're not on the PGA Tour. He's like, drop the ball right here in the grass. Give yourself a decent lie. He's like, you don't need to like go right to this line. He's like, you and your buddy are here to have a good time. You're not playing in a tournament or anything like that. Like, drop the ball right here. He's like, give yourself a decent line. Give yourself a yardage you like. He's like, we know it came in this area. And right then, like, kind of some of the, I guess maybe stress, like the stress of having someone watch you play that's not your buddy, just kind of went away. And I was like, all right, this guy is, he wants us to have an enjoyable time as much as I want to have an enjoyable time. And he's not here to be like, nope, man, these are the rules of the course. You have to go drop it over here. These are the rules of golf. Da, 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 da. I follow all the rules, but it wasn't so strict, right? And that was really nice to have is, hey, this guy knows. He wants you to have a good time. Drop right here. Hit this shot. Give yourself an opportunity. And let's keep going. Like, yep, you lost the ball, no big deal. You got another one, you're good. And so we start that kind of shed some of the, not the shyness, but more of like the stress and like being reserved towards him of like, all right, let me start talking to this guy. Guy's name was Dan. Like I mentioned, 16 years there. And we start talking about, what I needed to do on this shot and everything. And it ended up becoming, him being a full-time caddy for me through the full 18 holes. And we started talking. He was like, I watched you on the range. He's like, after a couple shots and after literally watching 2 holes, he's like, I know your game. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I'm like, he knew my yardages. He knew what I needed to do, the shot that I should hit, percentage, I should do on this thing on a certain shot. What club that I should be hitting out of the bag, off the tee, all that stuff. So it became a point to where I was like, you walk up to your shot and you tell him what you want to hit. And at the same time, he gives you the yardage. He tells you the wind. He'll be like, okay, hey, the hole right here where you're at is playing 160, but with the wind, it's playing 175. Or, hey, it's 160, but with the wind helping, it's more so playing, 140. So what's your 140 club? Okay. And then, this is what I want you to do with this. Cool. So, again, some of the thought that you should have when you're playing by yourself kind of goes away and you have an open conversation. And the reason why I did say it was one of the most enjoyable rounds I've ever played, or I've played in a long time, is sometimes I kind of want that with my buddies. Like when I go out and play, a lot of the times it's we kind of help each other, but at the same time, you want to play decent golf and you want to be competitive with your friends as well. And I do these golf trips and you want to be competitive as well, and you don't want to constantly tell your friend what you should do or suggestion or have an open conversation about it. And I wish sometimes we'd do that a little more. Like I'd love to go out and play 18 and have that same type of thing. Like, hey, yeah, I shot it. It's playing 160, but with the wind right now, this is what you should be hitting. It's more so like we just walk to our ball or ride to our ball and then we hit what we think we should hit. And we hope that, they have a decent shot, but if they don't, oh, well, it's not our fault. But it was really nice and it was cool. And there were certain shots, and I was telling my buddy who didn't play with us that day, I'm like, the caddy knew of shots that he felt comfortable that I could pull off that I wouldn't even have thought of, or a club that I should use in this situation that I normally would never pick out. So for instance, there was a par 3. And I overshot the green and it landed in a waste area, and the waste areas there are all sand and it's compact sand. So it rolled out a little bit, and it ended up being probably 50 yards from the hole. He's like, it's a 50-yard shot. He's like, you have this tree limb here. He's like, normally you would pull a 60 here, wouldn't you? And I was like, yeah, I would. He's like, here's a 52. He's like, I want you to choke up on it and hit it. He's like, take an 80% swing on it and it'll keep the ball low. And he's like, and hit it. It's a 50-yard shot, but with the wind, it's playing 60 yards. Clipped it nice and clean, right over the pin. Left myself with like a 15-foot putt, and I was like, wow. I was like, that thought of, I would have never thought to do that. As he even said, he's like, you normally would pull a 60 here. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, that's not the shot. That's not what you want to do here. He's like, this is your shot. Kind of thinking that, and that helped me now as I've played it. Now I'm thinking about my game more, and I'm like, I need to start thinking more like that in certain areas than rather just going, okay, I'm 50 yards from the hole, pull my 60 out because I know I can hit my I should hit my 60 about 70-80%, and that'll get me 50 yards, and but I'm not thinking about the tree limb or the wind or anything or keeping it low. It's just more of so like I know that can get me there. So it's more of just trying to figure out more of your game and learning more about your game. And it was just incredible that after a couple holes, this guy knew as much or more about my game than I ever really put into it. And it was so fun. Like you start talking to them, we started getting some beers in us and just having a really good time. And again, walking the course was so fun. Walking and drinking and talking and then getting up to your ball and having a good shot. And we played with two guys we had never met before, and they're having a great time with their caddy and us, and getting to see everything. And we asked the caddy at one point, I believe it was maybe a 14th hole or 13th hole. We said, what's the worst thing that a person could do to a caddy? And he said, not listen to him. And I said, okay. I said, I get it. I understand it. He's like, listen, I'm not trying to give you bad advice. He said, the worst thing that I hear and experience out here is, I'll tell a person to hit a certain shot. And he's like, they won't execute it. And their first thing to do is to blame me and say, well, you told me to do this. And he's like, yeah, I did, but you didn't. He's like, and it's hard. He's like, because you can't, because they're paying customers, obviously. He's like, I can't turn around to the guy and be like, I told you what to do. And yes, I know it didn't work because you didn't do it properly. He's like, that's not my fault. But he's like, not listening and blaming the caddy for your bad shots. He's like, that's the worst thing you can do to a caddy to really kind of ruin a round is, that type of thing. So, a good to know if you're going to play with a caddy, understand they're not there to hurt you. They're there to help you. So listen to them. Don't blame them for your bad shot. You have to remember, what type of golfer are you? Even the pros, right? The pros have caddies. The best golfers in the world have caddies. Think about that. The best golfers in the world still need help and guidance and understanding and thought when they're out there, right? Because golf is such an individual sport. You want to have that other person there to help you as much as they possibly can. Wow, that was tough to get out. So, that's something that a suggestion would be, hey, listen to your caddy. Don't blame them for your bad shots. You're a subpar golfer. You might be better than a subpar golfer, but you're not a pro. You're not out on tour. If it's your bad shot, it's your bad shot. They're not out there to give you bad advice, especially a guy like this guy, Dan, who's been there for 16 years. Like, this guy knows the course better than anyone that I would, way better than anyone that we were playing with, and more than probably the majority of the caddies that are out there. So I trust what he's going to say. So we finish. Great time. 94. Shot a 94. Like I said, I wish I could get some shots back. I wish I focused some more on a couple holes, but it was just more so taking in the round. And at the end of it, I shot a 94. My buddy shot a 93. We had a great time. My wife met us afterwards. We didn't bring our kids down for this trip. My wife met us afterwards at the clubhouse. His wife and his kids met us afterwards. And we ended up sitting there for like 4 hours after our round. And the way that the clubhouse is set up, they have outside seating and dining, and you can watch most of the back 9 and 18 coming up, and you have the ocean view and everything. And we just sat there. We had lunch. We watched the golfers come in, group after group, and getting to watch that. And the weather was perfect, high 60s, mid 60s. And the wind wasn't really at the clubhouse, so you don't feel it. And, man, one of the most enjoyable days overall. Yes, an enjoyable round of golf, but an enjoyable day I've had in a long time. And what I would say after all of this and the experience I had, like I mentioned earlier, I want to do it again and again. It's going to make me go broke if I just do that. But playing a course like that was awesome. Having a caddy was so worth it. $100 is, again, if I focused more and I concentrated more and I really kind of dialed in, I would pay him more. The $100 was worth is what I'm getting at, and they probably should get a little more. because of, how they can help you manage around the course and each hole and each shot and how quickly they can pick up on your game. That to me was the most incredible thing, right? Like, they're not going to help you make the putt, but listen to them. Hey, it's a cup outside. If you push it or you pull it, hey, that's your fault. But hey, I know what this putt needs to do. Hey, I know what this wind is doing and what shot you should hit here and the percentage of it. Or, yeah, I know what you should do here and take this club out and it's 100%. Or, hey, what do you like? A par 5. Hey, I want you to lay up here. What do you like to have in? Do you want 100 yards in? Do you want 50 yards in? Whatever it might be. Or stay right, stay left here. I know what it's going to do up there where you might not be able to see if it's a blind shot. Things like that. Totally worth it. So much fun. The day was so much fun. We sat there. We had lunch. We had a couple more drinks. We, had good conversation. Then, the end of the day, we went out to the chipping green and putting green with the kids. We let them chip. They were bringing us balls. We were letting them putt. Just kind of ending the day on a high note, and it was so much fun. So, if you have the chance, definitely play Kiawah Island Ocean Course. I definitely want to get back down there and play some of the other courses. I definitely want to give Ocean Course another run, see if I can break 90 there. And if you have the opportunity to play a bucket list course and you're worried about it, or you might be tentative about having a caddy, take my advice. Don't. It's totally worth it. It will be the most fun. Don't go in there expecting to shoot a low score. Again, my advice is go there to have an experience, and the experience needs to be, I'm going to have a great time today. And, whatever I shoot, the score is what it is, but I want to go and have a fun time and enjoy the course and enjoy the experience. And that's what I did, and I would highly suggest it. If you're in the Charleston, Kiawah area, get yourself a tee time, play one of those courses down there. If you're in the Sandhills of North Carolina, go and play one of the Pinehurst courses. If you're out in Oregon, play Bandon. If you're in California and you can play Torrey or Pebble or any of those courses out there, I highly suggest it. If you're a golfer and you want to get a bucket list course in, pull the trigger. I pulled the trigger. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I'm so damn glad I did. Such an awesome experience. I'm so glad I did it. And I hope you all have the same type of experience that I had. And that's it. That's my 2 cents on a bucket list course and the experience that I had. It was awesome. I can't say it enough. I had so much fun, and I can't wait to do it again. And I hope you get the opportunity to do it. Thanks.